Alright, in this video I'm going to be replacing the diverter valve on my GTI with a Go Fast Bits diverter valve plus. To be clear, I haven't actually taken the diverter valve off of this and looked at the condition of it. I'm just guessing it's bad based on the weird turbo sounds that I'm hearing. Like, it sounds like it's releasing the pressure as I'm accelerating, and then when I let off the throttle there's lots and lots of loud whistling sounds, which I've heard is actually not what you're supposed to hear. So I am guessing this is going to make a huge difference in terms of throttle response and acceleration and all those fun things. So yeah, this is a pretty simple thing. You just take the front wheel off, fender liner bit, and then the diverter valve is right inside there. It's a little hard to get at, but it's not too bad. There's a nice little instruction booklet that came with the diverter valve, and it kind of shows how it all fits together in there. So yeah, let's get right to it, and I'll kind of show you the whole process. All right, now the diverter valve is kind of up back in here, so this half of the fender liner needs to come off. There's a screw here, 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 and then there's like a couple up under here. I think there's like one here and then one a little further ahead. I think for me the one further ahead's broken off, but yeah, just so you know. And all these screws are T25. Like so. Okay, so with the fender liner out, this is kind of how you get to the diverter valve. It is right here. It's that thing right there. But there's 3 Allen bolts on there, and you unscrew those and the thing comes off. There's a connector. You'll disconnect that first, of course. I'm not really going to be able to show this on camera, but it's pretty intuitive once you see it. Well, I got the diverter valve out, but it appears that it was working perfectly fine. This diaphragm isn't torn at all, so I'm guessing this was working okay, but still, I think this is going to, I don't know, it might make a difference, an improvement. I took a before video and did a few 0 to 60 runs for consistency, and yeah, I'll do an after once I get this in to see what changes, if anything. Oh, I just noticed there's a lot of oil in this connector. Huh, strange. So maybe it was leaking after all. The annoying thing getting this out was the bolts holding this on. Whoever put them in had put Loctite on them, so they were kind of a pain to get out. Okay, before I get this all assembled, I'm gonna clean out this connector and you know, the cable end with some brake clean so they're not oily, and I don't know, maybe that'll help a little bit so there's a better connection here. Alright, now here's everything that comes inside the Go Fast Bits DV Plus kit. So you have a little booklet here. It shows different like revisions of the diverter valve. You know, here are all the parts, how they go into the solenoid part. You get a nice sticker. I'm probably going to put that on the inside of the window somewhere. And there's this carb sticker or whatever. I guess if you live in California, you got to put that in your car. So here's everything you get. The main diverter valve body, I don't know, I guess that's what you'd call this. Right here, very solid. There's this little bit, the brass plunger valve thing. There's a couple springs here and here. Then there's 3 new bolts that are longer than the stock ones. You've got to use these when you put it in, otherwise you know, the stock ones are not long enough, so you need these. Let's get this all put together and see what happens. Because I have a Volkswagen, of course I have a quart of oil in the trunk, but you want to assemble this with motor oil, lubing all the parts lightly. The skinny spring goes straight onto the solenoid. Then this little plunger goes on there, like so. Okay, so there's a notch here, see that? And then there's a little peg on the solenoid. Those need to line up. And then kind of press that into place until it's seated flat all the way around. This spring goes in there. This chunk of brass also gets motor oiled, and that goes in there like so. And here is our new diverter valve setup. I'm gonna get this slapped in and let's see what happens. I'll put this in. I won't be able to show that on camera, but you know, it's pretty simple. You can figure it out. Alrighty, and I got the GFB diverter valve in. Now, since those bolts go straight into aluminum turbo metal, you gotta be really careful, and you should torque them to exactly whatever feels right, inch-pounds. Yeah, that's what I did, and it worked. I think technically the torque spec is like 86 or 89 or something like that, but it's easier just to hit 90 on this. And triple check. One last step. The hubcap missing the VW logo. Yay. Okay, I'm gonna try to be a little bit less aggressive. Like, I'm trying to do a little bit of a smoother launch, and let's see what happens. Alright, as you can see, it really didn't make that much of a difference. The numbers don't lie. It's only faster by 1/10 of a second in the 0 to 60, which is technically faster, I suppose, but honestly, it's not a ton. It's really not any different in the rolling 10 to 60. I mean, 0.04 of a second. That's nothing. Really, you're not going to feel anything at all there. So honestly, I think any differences here were down to my driving skills and my throttle controls and inputs and all that. So honestly, the biggest difference I noticed here, the biggest difference you'll probably notice if your diverter valve, your stock diverter valve was good to begin with, is the sound. You're really only going to notice the sound difference. Really, the only difference you're going to notice in the sound is it's going to be a little less whistly when you let off the throttle. a little less whistly and slightly more whooshy, I guess, for lack of a better word. You just hear more air movement. It's not whistling when you let off the throttle as much. A little bit, but not as much. So yeah, really not a huge performance increase, unless I would say your stock diverter valve is bad and it's leaking really badly, or you're trying to push really big boost numbers. Stock diverter valve is not going to hold it, and so installing DV Plus, you will notice a big difference. But my car is completely stock, not tuned. I frankly don't plan on tuning it anytime soon. So the difference I notice for performance is it's almost nothing. The only difference I think I will notice in the long run is reliability. This diverter valve is probably never going to wear out. It's probably never going to go bad. It'll probably outlive the rest of the car. So that's honestly, that's the biggest upgrade, biggest change for me. Probably the biggest change for you as well. So just something to keep in mind. You probably won't notice a huge performance difference. So don't worry if you put it in and you're like, oh, it's not like noticeably faster. That's fine. That's normal. But it will be more reliable. And if you want to tune it, it's going to be better for that. So anyway, those are my thoughts. I think it's probably still worth it. Just keep your expectations realistic. It's not going to be a crazy improvement. Nevertheless, I still recommend it. Anyway, I hope that video was useful. Hope you were entertained if it wasn't useful. And I'll see you guys on the next one.